Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies, inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and I, we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production podcast network. We hope to see you online.
Feeling 7 up, I'm feeling 7 up. Sharing smiles, feeling 7 up, 7 up. It's a crisp, refreshing feeling. Crystal clear and light, liquor is turning 7 up, and it sure feels right. Feeling like 7.
Welcome to Wake Up Heavy, the world's greatest horror movie podcast.
Hello and welcome to Wake Up Heavy, Recollections in Horror. This is Mark Bagley, your host, and joining me once again, probably for the last time this year, is my daughter Cleo.
Hi.
And we're going to talk a little bit about the movies that we watched together, she and I, and then some of the movies that we watched as a family.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do things a little differently and go through the list of movies, and then we'll talk about some that Cleo picked out that were of particular interest to her. So we started the month on the very first day of the month with an all-time favorite of mine, John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China.
What? Huh? What'll come out no more? Come on!
I believe on the same day we watched Last Night in Soho.
And that was your pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then next up was a family watch for all of us, a new movie for all of us, the murder mystery, Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile, with some interesting actors involved in that one, which we can talk about later if you want to.
And then we watched The Witch, which was my want. I wanted to watch it.
I'm happy to rewatch that one. And that was, we were kind of looking for A24 movies to watch because that comes up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Next up was probably also your pick. And this has been a running theme this whole summer. We've watched Wes Anderson movies throughout the summer, and we got to Moonrise Kingdom. And that was a family watch.
Mm-hmm. And then another family watch was Forrest Gump.
My name's Forrest Gump. People call me Forrest Gump.
One of your mom's favorites. I like it a lot. I guess a lot of people hate it, and I kind of understand why. And again, we can get into that later if you want to. Another family watch, this might have been on the same night, was the Bob's Burgers movie, which was new to all of us, of course, since it's just been released. Boy, it seems like it was just in the theaters only a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. And then we watched Pan's Labyrinth, which again was my suggestion because it looked cool and it was in Spanish.
Is cool. Very cool. That's my second watch on that one. And it is kind of depressing.
So.
Another pick from you. This is a complete rewatch for us. The Fear Street trilogy. I had been seeing this on Twitter. People were like, oh, we want more. And I guess they're working on more.
Yep, I've heard about that too. Yeah.
Cool.
And then our next watch was Christine, another Stephen King movie.
That's just about the finest smell in the world.
Your pick, I think.
I think. I don't remember.
I've watched it recently, but I was happy to watch it again because it's on Netflix in the correct aspect ratio, and it might leave at any point, so might as well watch it while it's there. This next one was your pick, and we have a little bit of history with this one. The Ring. Tried to watch it not that long ago, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
At night, and it completely freaked you out.
Well.
And I understand. I said it's creepy.
It's creepy.
It was middle of the day, so we took another chance, and you seemed to do okay.
We did it. Next movie was Phantasm.
Fear is the killer. That's what grandmother wants you to learn.
Yes, one of my all-time favorites. And I may ask you about that one. I don't know if that was one of your picks to talk about later, but I'll ask you about that. Mm-hmm. Next up was a family watch. New movie, new for all of us. The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke.
That was really good.
Yeah, I think we all liked that one.
Yeah. And then we watched It Follows, which, again, I believe was my suggestion. It looked weird, and I wanted to watch it.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about it after The Ring. Didn't watch it that day, but got back to it shortly after, and it's sort of similar in a way.
Yeah.
Something that follows you until you're dead. Mm-hmm. I like that movie more and more every time I watch it. I think it's one of the best of the last, gosh, I don't know how old it is now. At least 10 years old.
It Follows in like 2014.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
Yep.
And then another pick of yours. This was a suggestion from your cousin Emma.
Yeah.
In your first Quentin Tarantino films.
Because it's so much fun, Jan. Get it?
And we'll have to see about the other ones because they're all very, very violent with lots of cussing. We watched Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
And then the last movie we watched on the last day.
Yeah, the last day of June. I mean, July. See, here we go again. Going backwards stuff is not good for my brain.
Was Cloverfield.
So, out of those films, which ones did you pick to talk about?
Well, I'm just going to list them off and then we can go through them. I picked The Witch, Moonrise Kingdom, The Black Phone, It Follows, and then both Kill Bills. And then maybe some other movies, like you said, that you might want to ask me about.
The Witch, what did you want to say about that?
I just liked it. I mean, it kind of reminded me of Fear Street and the whole, like, I'm not a witch, but I'm going to become one. So, of course, I was like, I like it. This is chill. A lot of weird scenes, and I don't know if you heard me, but when we were watching Evil a few nights ago and the whole weird breastfeeding thing happened, I was like, oh, this is like the crow eating her boob.
Yeah.
But that movie was good, and it was such a different type of horror movie that it was cool because it's not modern. It's supposed to be like the 1630s. I liked it. It's just different and strange. Its own right.
That's folk horror, so I love folk horror, and we can watch more folk horror. Yeah. And I think we watched that with the subtitles, right?
Yeah, because
for one thing, the dad is really hard to understand. He just has that really deep voice. And the accent. They were very
quiet too.
Well, they wanted to use the language of the time, unlike the Fear Street 1666 thing, where it's a little bit questionable,
anachronistic, but it's fine.
They were really looking to be authentic with that, and the phrasing is odd and things, and it's helpful, I think, for me at least, to watch it with subtitles. That's, again, one of my favorite modern horror films.
I also wanted to trash on the twins in that movie because
they're awful.
They're the main problem here.
Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
And so Moonrise Kingdom was another one you wanted to get into specifically.
I really liked that movie. It was super cute. And then I was talking about it one day to one of my friends who also, I was like, oh, you should watch this movie. And then they go, oh, you should watch this movie. And I was like, what is it? And they go, it's Kill Bill. So that also ties in. But they watch this movie too, but I really, really liked Moonrise Kingdom. And then I kind of went down a rabbit hole and I found out that not a lot of people like it, or like they think it's kind of just not plotless, but like there's not much going on, which I was like, how could you? It's so cute and fun.
Plotless movies are fine.
Yeah. It's like a really famous Studio Ghibli movie, or Ghibli, however you want to say it. My Neighbor Totoro, it basically doesn't have a plot. Things are just happening in that movie, but it's really good. So I was like,
I like those kind of movies.
yeah.
Okay, what was on your list next to get specific about?
The Black Phone.
I was looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm.
That director, Scott Derrickson, well, he did the first Doctor Strange movie, which is pretty fun as far as Marvel movies go. He did a movie called Sinister. The beginning of that movie is some of the scariest stuff that I have seen in the last 10 or 15 years. There's these home movies that Ethan Hawke is watching in his house, and they're horrifying. So I thought, this guy knows creepy. Mm-hmm. And the writer has done some good stuff. And then Joe Hill is the son of Stephen King, and he's the one that wrote the story it's based on. So that all sounded good to me. Mm-hmm. And it was getting a lot of good buzz. So we were able to see it. Mom really liked it, and I liked it, and you said you liked it. So what specifically about that one did you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, Ethan Hawke is very strange and creepy in that movie. Mm-hmm. But I really like the sister, and I can't remember her name right now, but the little sister is the best. And I love the scene where she chucks a rock at the bully's head and makes him like bleed. But she
profusely.
She gets, I think, punched in the face, and she gets a nosebleed. So they're both just like sitting outside of the fight, like, this is fine. Even though that kid was bullying her older brother like 2 minutes ago. No, she's just a fun character, and I liked, honestly, really everyone in the movie.
Hey, remember who we saw pop up in there as his brother? Eddie Kaspbrak.
Yep.
I forget the actor's name, Joel Ransom or something like that.
Something.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was real twitchy. Yeah, she was the standout, and I think all the people I follow on Twitter are mostly horror fans, and she was the one that kept getting all the praise. Her and the young actor that played the brother that was kidnapped both got a lot of praise.
Yeah, well, I did really good.
Yeah, that's one that we will watch again for sure.
Yeah, I also liked that the cops were like willing to listen to the sister, because I feel like in a lot of horror movies that have to do with that, they're like, nah, she's just insane. Especially because this movie takes place in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like even more like, oh, this girl's just mentally unstable or whatever. But they actually are like, oh no, she's literally like telling the truth. So that was nice.
That's very refreshing. I hate it when the cops, because it's used as a plot device, it kind of drives the story forward. If nobody believes the character, then bad stuff can keep happening. But yes, they were a lot more willing to listen, and I think that helps kind of relieve some stress when watching films like that. All right, what's up next to chat about?
It Follows. Again, I really like this movie. Like, it was an interesting story, though I did find out that the shell thing that one of the friends reads on is actually not a real thing.
Yeah.
They just made it for the movie, and I was like, no, it's so cool.
Her little e-reader.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that sticks out in this, because a lot of people are like, when does this take place? I can't tell where this happens. I can't tell what year it is. I can't tell what time of the year it is. I believe that's all done on purpose. And I like when movies do that, where it's kind of created its own world.
Yeah.
Ronnie and I went and saw that in the theater, and I was thinking, oh, this is an 80s throwback movie. But then she's sitting there reading on an e-reader, and it's like, oh, no, this takes place now, I guess. Near future? Who knows?
And I remember when I was looking at that shell thing, and when I was looking up about stuff, they said they made it because they wanted it to have like an otherworldly feel. So that makes sense. Like, you can't really tell when this movie is supposed to, what you said, which I thought was cool and interesting.
Their styles are a little outdated in a lot of scenes. There's a lot of old cars, but there's newer cars. You can't really tell what time of year it is, because she's swimming in one. Not that you can't swim in like the fall or the spring, but
but
that they're all wrapped up most of the rest of the time. like big coats and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's disorienting, I think, which can be frustrating for some people, but I like that when I feel like I'm in a wholly created world.
Yeah. And it helps with the whole, entity trying to kill people.
Those kids, their relationship felt real. Like it felt like they have all known each other, grew up with each other. They've known each other for years.
And again, back to the friend who was constantly reading, like that made sense. I have friends who are constantly in the conversation, but also like doing something else. Like that's a normal human thing. And it's not constantly just, yes, I am listening to you. Like it made sense. It was
Do they fart like she does?
Well.
I love that part. I have an idea. Okay. What's up next?
Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Emma, for the suggestion for your 14-year-old cousin to watch a hyper-violent Quentin Tarantino movie.
Now, if any of you sons of bitches got anything else to say, now's the fucking time!
With a lot of feet. I mean, who's so...
What made that one stand out for you?
Well, I really like Kill Bill Volume 1. I think this goes for most people that they like it better than Volume 2. But it's a fun story. Fun. Maybe not the best word. But, it's interesting, and you can get behind her actions, which, again, I don't know if I should saying that. But you can get behind why she wants to do that. Like, the assassins aren't totally, like, you don't know their whole story, but at the same time, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, you don't need a ton of backstory on them, which helps. For one thing, combined, it's well over 4 hours of movie.
Yeah.
It's interesting because she's totally justified, and one of the characters, Bud, the guy that gets killed and that has they all get killed, the gross mobile home.
Yeah.
He says during the movie, she's right to do it, and we should all die.
Literally.
Yeah, the first one is definitely more entertaining, and the second one gets really talky.
That's the thing that I didn't like. Most of the first part of Volume 2 was... The backstory part was interesting, and it did make me sad because I did actually like her friends in the wedding scene. Because they all seem like good people. And then, they all get killed. So... There was a lot of talking, and then finally when she got to that, we got to the training scene, and then we got to her like actually getting out of the out of the coffin and walking away like a little zombie lady. It started to pick up.
The training stuff is good, and the fights when they happen are still really energetic and good and put together really well, but there's more of that in the first one.
And even the villainous characters, except maybe I don't know her name, the one that whistles, I liked them. Like, they're kind of chill characters. Especially Go-Go. She was interesting. Like, they're all interesting, but it also kind of sucks that they're evil in this story. Because I was like, oh, these people are cool.
You don't want them to be just awful, hideous.
Yeah.
There's got to be some kind of feeling about when they get their heads chopped off.
Yeah. And
or their arm. Or their leg.
Even when I keep forgetting character names, Vivica's character dies and her daughter's behind her, she literally tells her daughter, she's like, you can come for me because I killed your mother. I'm sorry, but
that's the code. I got to do this, and I understand that you're going to have to do this, and that's just the life we have. Was that it for your topics?
I mean, I have some other ones, but those were the ones that really stood out to me.
Well, let me ask you about a couple then.
Okay.
Since Phantasm is one of my all-time favorite movies, it's one of the movies that I've done a full-length episode on, one of the very first, or the first, actually, of this show. What did you think about that?
I liked it. It was strange, but it was good. You said that you were like, I like that it's a confusing movie and stuff like that. Yeah, which it is.
And part of that's on purpose, and part of it sort of happened. It was a much longer, like a lot of movies, it was much longer. They cut a bunch of stuff out. So there are some things that don't connect quite right. The whole movie is supposed to be dreamlike.
Yeah.
I mean, you got at the end that they were basically saying that everything that had happened up until then was a dream. And it took me a long time to realize that as a kid, because then they go back on that
And they're like,
at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
So is it a dream or is it not? And then when the second movie came out, it even made it more confusing.
Yeah.
That and like Tourist Trap have the same kind of feel to me.
Gosh. That's weird. Very strange. Yeah, I liked that movie. I mean, I like the little creatures, even though they weren't really good, but they were.
Oh yeah, the Jawa dudes
Yeah,
and
they
that
were
little
weird.
fly thing.
Practical effects are just fun. So
And you caught the reference in that. I was hoping, since we have watched Dune,
oh yeah.
I was gonna see if you caught that black box deal.
Like immediately I was like,
Wait a minute.
is this that one scene?
Put your hand in the box.
What's in it?
Just put your hand in the black box.
I saw the original Dune in the theater, and I had already seen Phantasm a bunch of times, and I was like, this seems awfully familiar to me. Since we went through this a little bit quicker this time, what would be your top 3 watches of July?
Okay. Oh no. Oh gosh. Ooh. I don't know. I obviously liked a lot of them.
Well, the ones that you would definitely go back to again and again.
Moonrise Kingdom, Kill Bill, and The Black Phone, probably.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
How about the Bob's Burgers movie?
Well, that was great.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that.
I loved how fluid that animation was. That was a good movie.
We'll see if we can squeeze in an August episode, but if not, maybe I'll get your thoughts on some movies for when I do that one, because we are obviously still watching movies, and you don't have to go back to school for another couple of weeks, so we'll definitely get more August watches in.
Maybe like a mid-August episode when I go back to school.
Mid-August before you go back. Yeah, we could do that. I could split it up. Sure, why not? All right, Cleo. Well, thanks for joining me on this episode. Anything you want to say to the people out there?
I don't know. Watch these movies.
Yes.
Because we said so.
Exactly. That's what I always tell them too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cutie, thanks. And I will see you in a little bit.
Hey.
Yes, I do know the name of my own show. I don't know if anybody caught that at the beginning of the episode. In my introduction, I said Recollections in Horror instead of Recollections of Horror. But yeah, I'm not going to go change that now. I just found it funny as I was editing that portion with Cleo and I. On to my rewatches for July. Starts off with something that I haven't watched in quite a while, but it has been on my mind for at least a year, and I have a lot of history with this film, Alex Cox's Repo Man.
Feeling 7 up, I'm feeling 7 up. Feeling 7 up, I'm feeling 7 up. It's a crisp, refreshing feeling, crystal clear and light. America's drinking 7 up, and it sure feels right. Feeling lucky 7.
Kevin, stop singing, man.
Huh? Wasn't singing, guy.
I'm standing right next to you and you're fucking singing. Cut it out.
This is something that I believe my friend Staven, well, not introduced me to, but first showed to me. I was aware of the film. It played in Fresno, I think, at the Tower Theater, which was our artsy part of town, where, incidentally, I saw Sid and Nancy a few years later. And Staven was always a bit adventurous in his movie rentals. Introduced me to Catch-22, a couple other oddball films over the years. But Repo Man is something I remember distinctly being brought to my attention by him. And he also gifted me the VHS at some point over the years on my birthday, and I still have it. I actually ripped the box apart to scan for the player image on this episode. It's been sitting in the garage for God knows how many years. Great film, highly quotable. I still quote lines from that. Plate of shrimp. Let's go do some crimes. Let's get sushi and not pay. all that stuff. The music, about as close to punk as I really ever got. I had the soundtrack for a while, actually. I think borrowed it from Staven. And I don't know if I've talked about punk music before. That's for another time. Anyway, had a lot of fun watching it. TCM Underground played it a few weeks back, or maybe close to the beginning of the month, actually. And it brought back a lot of memories. Because I watched that, and Robbie, is it Mueller or Mueller? I never know. I don't think I've ever heard his name pronounced. And he's got that umlaut over the U. Great cinematographer, has worked with wonderful, wonderful people. I always associate him with Wim Wenders and Jim Jarmusch. Watched Mystery Train again, even though I had watched it a couple of months back.
You know, it's like they say, the clothes make the man. I mean, look at that damn hat on your head. You're like a damn mosquito-leg chimpanzee. I mean...
And mainly for that first story with the Japanese couple. I just loved the two of them. Caught the thing on TCM one night. Ended up pretty much watching it all the way through. This next one is something that I haven't watched in decades, but was a favorite of my father and mine. Death Hunt with Charles Bronson. This was for an episode of the Culture Cast, which just dropped as of this recording today. So it is on his main feed. I thought it was a Patreon-only episode, so you can go hear my thoughts about Charles Bronson, Lee Marvin, Angie Dickinson, Andrew Stevens, etc. in the Yukon Territory. Dad and I loved that movie. Caught Terminator 2 on cable, wherever it's playing. I'm one of those guys that prefers the first Terminator and the first Alien films. Aliens, I enjoy. It's more action-y than sci-fi or horror. Terminator 2, again, more action-y than sci-fi. I caught Your Next. This is on my list of top modern horror films. I believe it's on one of those episodes that I did early on, and on my letterbox list for those films. My absolute favorite home invasion movie, which is, as I've probably mentioned numerous times, not my favorite subgenre. I watched Manhunter by Michael Mann.
William Blake's The Great Red Dragon and the Woman Clothed in the Rays of the Sun. Do you see?
And that is in prep for the upcoming episode on Silence of the Lambs. I'm watching as many of the Hannibal films as I can, although I will most likely skip Hannibal Rising, and maybe even possibly Hannibal. Caught Strangers on a Train on TCM. They were having a marathon, I guess, of movies with Stranger in the title. I was working for a lot of it, but two of them I specifically stopped and watched all the way through, and this was one of them. But I've seen it multiple times before. One of my favorites of Hitchcock's.
Your wife, my father. Crisscross.
I think this was inspired by all the January 6th committee talk on Twitter and elsewhere. Got in the mood for a conspiracy theory that has a satisfying ending, I'll say, and watched one of the best movies of the 70s, All the President's Men. And that was it for my rewatches on my own. Most of the films I watched with Cleo are rewatches, except for those three new films, Death on the Nile. We didn't get around to talking about that, but I was basically referring to Armie Hammer, who I forgot was in that, and has been in the news in the last couple of years for some really strange stuff. And then Gal Gadot has the charisma, at least in this movie, of a block of cheese. I don't know. The acting in this just was not really all that enticing for me. It's an okay film. We started looking to see if we could find the one from the 70s and a lot of other Agatha Christie stuff and sort of failed. But we're always up for a good murder mystery. And what else? The Bob's Burgers movie and The Black Phone were the three new to me watches with the family on my own. I've only got a few. Crimes of the Future for that episode with Chris, that's on my feed as well. The Velvet Vampire, which is a film that I've been wanting to see for a while. It's been playing on a couple different streaming services, but in a crappy 4:3 presentation. Even on Shudder, it's been on Shudder for a couple of months, I believe. TCM, yay for TCM, showed it. So I recorded it, and I just figured it would probably be the same version. And luckily it wasn't. It was a very nice, cleaned up version of the film. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Messiah of Evil, although not as interesting as that film, but still pretty cool. I watched a new film called Off Season with Jocelyn Donahue, who is in House of the Devil and other things, but I mainly think of her from House of the Devil, which is a movie that I really, really enjoy. Speaking of Messiah of Evil, this has gotten comparisons to that. Sleepy seaside town with strange inhabitants, strange goings-on in the town. It's on Shudder right now. Give it a whirl. It doesn't quite live up to the Messiah of Evil standards, but I enjoyed it. And she's always great. And then during that Stranger marathon on TCM, I caught a Peter Lorre film that I've been wanting to see for a while. I think Projection Booth did an episode on this called Stranger on the Third Floor. Even though he's not in it much, he is creepy as all get out. And this was still when he had really bad teeth, which was a source of bad health for him for a long time. And you see them in the film, and they are really gnarly. I don't know if they added some extra stuff or if those were just solely his teeth, but they looked hideous. For the month, I watched 33 films, and only 7 were new to me. Oh well, that's how it happens sometimes. Or mostly for me, I guess. So I mentioned the Death Hunt episode, and I have got the Silence of the Lambs episode coming up, which will most likely be released right around the 4-year anniversary of this show. So expect that next week, around the 11th or 12th. It's hard for me to get a solid date because SoundCloud always backdates their episodes by a day or two, but it's around that time, and Thursday is a normal release day for me, so should be out by then. I've got Mike and Chris coming on to do that with me, and it should be a really good episode. And then I have actually gotten on the ball and lined up about 6 movies to end 2022 and begin 2023. I have asked a number of my favorite co-hosts to sign on to these episodes, so each episode has at least one guest coming on. I hope to get some more. I'm also gunning for a big interview, but I got to figure that out for one of these. More on those as they come. Probably nothing of that group will come out until at the earliest October, but most likely after November. And then along the way, I'll keep releasing these, doing CultureCast episodes and other things, and whatever grabs my attention. On some personal news, we are having our whole HVAC system replaced. It's a huge expense. Thank God for financing, because there's no way we would be able to do it. The system we have is inefficient and costly as far as our bills are concerned. It's just been hard the 15 years that we've lived in this house to deal with it every summer. So hopefully that takes care of that. Hopefully it takes out some of the background noise that is inherent during my recordings. The reason I'm bringing it up is if you ever considered buying something on TeePublic, now's the time to do it. I do have a donation link on my website and on SoundCloud. Feel free. Anything helps. Hate to pander, but it is a major, major expense. The most expensive thing we've done on this house the whole time we've lived here. Even more expensive than the new roof we put on 5 years ago. Way more. Hopefully, though, that makes our lives a little more comfortable and recording, hopefully, a little easier. And that's that. Okay, I think that should do it. Any other news and notes you can generally catch on my social media pages, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day, stay cool, and don't forget,
anything can happen when you wake up heavy.
Feeling 7-Up, I'm feeling 7-Up. It's a crisp, refreshing feeling, crystal clear and light. America's drinking 7-Up, and it sure feels right.